Hi.
Okay. Cool.
What's going on? How are you?
Well.
Good. Are you excited to talk today?
Yeah, I am. It feels good. I was talking to Dina on our walk. I was like, this stuff is just fun for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nice that we've already had a
Awesome.
chance to
Oh,
try to
totally.
get to know each other.
Yeah.
I've talked about my daughter pooping while we're
Yeah.
talking, and we shot shit about
Yeah.
everything. So I'm just going to quickly move this closer to us.
Yeah, is there anything you need to move or?
Nope. We're good. So who are you? What's your story-o?
Yeah.
Spill the tea.
Just my background.
Yeah.
General.
Maybe start with your name.
My name.
Besides our stories of ashes.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, so my name is Alica Forneret. My story, I'm from California, born and raised in Riverside. I was adopted by my parents in 1989. And I lived there until I went away to college. When I left for college, I was like, I need to get the fuck out of California. So I moved to the East Coast and went to school for a year in Massachusetts, and then started my grand tour of universities. And by the time I graduated in 2013, I'd attended 7 different colleges and had bounced around the country for lots of different reasons. And then after that, I've just been freelancing. So I'm a writer and an editor, and have been freelancing since I got out of college. And then, I mean, that's pretty much like my
Formal academics.
formal training in academic history. And other than that, I'm just gonna grab a tissue.
Oh, from behind me. Yes, deal.
Is that okay? Yes.
No.
Thank you.
No, you must
I'm
sniffle.
probably gonna cry anyway. I always cry
Yes.
anyway, so this is good.
Good. I like crying.
Yeah.
As a night.
Yeah, and so how did I end up here? Vancouver.
You know what? However you want to take the story, just roll with it.
Yeah, so I was writing for a long time, mostly about food. That's how I ended up, food.
What?
Food magazines, food. I worked for a pop-up company for a little while, and so I ran like the content arm of the pop-up company, and we were writing and interviewing chefs and going around the country and doing pop-up dinners.
Cool.
And writing out their menus. Yeah, it was great. It was incredible. And that year, I was working in New Orleans for this pop-up company, and my mom had been sick for a really long time, but let me think about just the timeline. The timeline still, my mom's only been dead for almost 3 years now, but it's still like so fuzzy in my head sometimes. So I was working for this pop-up company. I got laid off in 2015. The company went bankrupt, as they do, like startups in New Orleans, so it went bankrupt. And then I moved to New York from New Orleans, and while I was living in New York, I was like going back and forth from home a little bit, and then my sister got married that year. So I came down from New York, had moved back to California from New York, and my sister got married in September of 2016. At the time, I was working on a publication focused on death. So my designer and I from the startup, when we got laid off, we were both like, fuck it. Like, we'll just be creatives. We'll keep doing this work. We'll do the thing that like we've always said that we wanted to do, which was start our own publication. And so why don't we make the first theme about death? So
how did you get to how did you get to the theme of
from food to death?
Yeah, from food to death. That's what this podcast will be called.
Right. I think the thing was like we wanted something that was going to be different from what we'd been doing for a while, which was a lot of food work. And we were like, okay, if we're gonna do this thing and we're gonna like try and be like edgy artists and do that, we'll like focus on death, like the thing that nobody wants to talk about. So we've been working on that for the full year, from 2015 to the end of 2016. I flew back in for my sister's wedding to California, and that was the end of September. We were going to print on this like death-centered publication the next month in London, and then my mom died. So I've been spending that whole year like thinking about death, talking to artists about death, making this publication about death, And like I was doing everything from going to taxidermy conventions in New Jersey to like doing photo shoots about funeral teas in the South and all of this like weird wacky shit. And then my mom died, and I realized at that time that like I'd been looking at death from this really abstract creative perspective.
And removed. And
very removed. Oh yeah, like I didn't talk about my family, anyone that I had lost. It was all just like very, very abstract and looking at it from this creative point of view. And then when she died, I realized like, oh, this is like front of mind. It is my life now. It's something I have to think about more seriously than just like thinking up the best playlist for your funeral that we could publish in this thing that we were making. Yeah. Like, we're all over the place.
I get.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I'll like give you a copy of this thing because what we ended up doing was we had all that artistic stuff going on and all these contributors that had worked on it. We ended up putting a photo of me and my sister and my mom at the front of it and dedicating the issue to her. And really, it was the first time where I was like, oh, I've spent a whole year with this, what somebody referred to as the other day as this like death 101. And now like I'm writing my fucking thesis on this because my mom is dead and I actually have to think about death and grief and dying and all of that as a reality now. So I went to London and I, put that piece out, the broadsheet. It was a broadsheet that we were constructing and publishing.
What's a broadsheet?
So it's like a newspaper. Can I grab?
Yeah.
So it's like a newspaper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's like a. It's just like a.
So it's called Crow Pie.
Yeah, it's called Crow Pie. And so so we put this picture of my mom. Oh shit! I have like 400 copies of this.
Okay. Oh, I've seen this picture on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's like me and my mom and my sister, and we dedicated it to her. And yeah, this came out in November, so like a couple weeks after my mom died. Like we were ready to go to print when she passed away. So I'd been working on that and just realized after we put that out that like I can keep using my talent and my writing and my passion looking at this subject, but would like to do something a little bit more purposeful with it for me and for the people that I like talk to and work with and collaborate with. And so that's how I ended up where I am now, doing all this work in grief and writing about grief and still creating products around it, but stuff that's like helpful and meaningful and not just for the sake of doing something creative.
And I know you said Dead Moms Club is a chapter. Are you a chapter of it or is that you?
Oh no, I just like
you
kicked
coined
it
it
off over here. Yeah, so Kate Spencer wrote a book called The Dead Moms Club.
Okay.
Years ago, and it's an incredible book. I loved it. The minute I picked it up, it was like one of the first places where I found a voice that kind of like the conversation we first had where it was like, oh, you can like say that this stuff is shitty. You can say that death is hard. You can like make jokes about this stuff and it's okay. So she wrote the book and I just decided what I heard from so many people in my life after my mom died was, oh, you're part of the club now. Like, oh, you're in the club now. What the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, you're in this club and you're in a club with people that's like people whose moms have passed away and they can say things that nobody else will say to you. They can tell you about how to handle things and cope with things and what milestones are going to be like and what birthdays are going to be like and prep you in a way that other people won't be able to. And I recognized that there was this real sense of just like camaraderie and true connection between a lot of people who have lost someone similarly that made it really beautiful. And also it really made it clear to me when you think about it as that club and it's sort of like something that you share with another person that you don't share with someone else, it made it really clear that the people who don't share that with you don't really handle it well all the time. And they don't know how to handle things in a way that other people who have experienced it can. And so when I started making the lapel pins, the point of that was just I can wear something all the time, one, that commemorates my mom, and two, that connects me to people so that they know, oh shit, like, you're in the club too. We can talk about this. I can commiserate with you. I can talk to you about things that I don't talk to other people about. And it was like it was an opportunity to share that part of your experience outwardly and express it to other people who you could find a connection with. And then also for the shitty people who say stuff on Mother's Day specifically, like, what are you gonna buy your mom next weekend for Mother's Day? Like, when I wear it this time of year, less people say that kind of stuff to me. Like, did you get her flowers yet? What kind of chocolates are you gonna get her? Like, what are you doing with your mom this Mother's Day? Like, it's very, very clear to people that my mom's fucking dead. So, yeah.
So what do you do to honor your mom?
Yeah, so...
I mean, I know because I creep your Instagram, so obviously I know what you do. But maybe this might be a tool for other people who are in the Dead Moms Club who haven't been as vocal or what do you call it when you're searching out yourself, self-seeking support.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Like, what do I do? So one of the biggest things is I say her name as much as I can. So my mom's name was Deborah. And for me, that's something that's really important, and which is going to be a part of the event in a couple weeks, just because, like, when someone dies, you know their name, but you keep moving forward. Your life keeps moving forward. You keep meeting new people. And as your circles and your social life expands and grows, like, those aren't people that you've carried with you your whole life that know that person's name and that had a connection with that person, that maybe met your mom at that point or whatever it is. So for me, it's really important to, like, hear her name and say her name as much as possible, and to tell people about her. And that's really, I think, how I commemorate her the most. Like, I do my things, like, on her death anniversary, my fiance and I will go do stuff, and on her birthday, I'll do stuff. We buy art on her birthday every year, and that's something I'd like to continue to do because she was an artist. And so just having things in our house that, like, remind me of her and that we did on her actual birthday are incredible. But the stories, I think, are what are the most important to me and the most special, because she's not around to be that person anymore physically in front of people, but I can paint that picture for people and I can remind myself of what it was like to be around her. So, for example, like, my mom and my dad and I joke about this all the time. Like, my mom would talk to anyone, anywhere, at any time. So she's like, when you're in line at the grocery store and there's the lady who's, like, looking through your cart, she's like, when are you gonna cook with that? Oh, what's your kid's name? What are you gonna do with that? I've never had that before. Like, that was my mom. And that was my mom through and through, every day of the week. There were people who ended up writing us after she passed away and, like, writing to my family, being like, I met your mom when I was sitting in a waiting room. And, like, people who came to the funeral that just knew her from going to the grocery store. And so being able to talk about her in a way that honors, like, her energy and her spirit and her personality, that's, like, way better to me than, like, throwing a rock in the ocean, like, once a year or some shit. I don't know. Which is great, and I think it's beautiful that people do those things, but, like, for me, what's really special is, like, talking to people about her.
So not having a dad, my grandpa was a big role model in my life, and he was my father figure. And he died about 5 years ago now, but I see so much of him in my daughter, and that's something that I cherish, and being able to share with other people is how much that she walks like him, or she holds herself, and just little pieces where I feel like he's still around in other people. And he had so many traditions and so many little things that when people pass, it's easy to lose that tradition that they held on to, and especially for us, I find as, like, ish millennials, that we keep moving and keep doing all this different stuff that we forget the traditions that come before us, like traditions that Deborah had or other family members that make us who we are, make us a family. So what traditions or what things are you also doing to keep her memory alive?
I'm just thinking about what, other than storytelling, which has been a huge part of the last couple of years for me. I think one thing that I'm definitely doing to keep her memory alive is talking to my dad about her and talking to my aunt about her, because they have a lot of stories that, like, you know, those things that just come out after somebody dies that, like, nobody would have told you, and, like, you never needed to know, or that, like, you probably shouldn't have known. And I think what's been really special is learning about my mom, and that's something that I want to continue to do, and I want to do with my partner, and I want to do with my kids, like when we have them, is to continue learning about her and not just going backwards in time and remembering the experiences that I got, but also continuing to like find out what it was like for her and my dad when they first started dating, and to talk about one of the things that was really special for me probably like 2 years ago now was talking to my dad about what he saw of my mom in me. Which, and like, similar to what you're talking about though, you know, like for me, it's been really special in that conversation. I was having a horrible time at work, and I got out a piece of paper and a pen, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to talk to you about this. Called him up, and I was like, I just need to know, like, I need something positive. I need something good. I need something in my life that's, you know, going to be a positive experience between the two of us about my mom. And yeah, so he like gave me this list about being passionate, about being creative, and it was stuff that I recognized in myself but had not attributed to my mom. And so that's like learning that he sees those connections, or learning about what their relationship was like before I even existed, or what my mom was like, you know, when she was younger with my aunts and uncles. Like, I think that's been really special. And then, yeah, I think for me, it's really, now that I'm thinking about it, it's really been about talking about my mom and sharing about my mom and who she was as a person. And our relationship was, you know, a roller coaster, as like it would be with a teenager that is coming of age and going through puberty, and it was pretty rough at times. And even when I was in college, but I think now I'm like just getting used to thinking about a lot of the positive stuff, and then also going through some of that rough stuff with my dad, which has been weird and like messy, but good. Yeah.
What advice would you have for anyone who is, there's so many different stages of grief, and there's grief when there's something that is lost that is still alive. Like I think about my marriage and the grief that I experienced with that. So when someone's experiencing extreme grief, what, from your personal experience, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah.
Essentially, what advice do you have for me?
Yeah. I think, so to start, I would probably take two different approaches. Like, the first thing I would say, though, is to preface with, like, everyone's grief and grieving experience is very, very, very different. At points in the last couple of years for me, what I've needed was to work so hard, morning, noon, and night, like power through it, just go to the office. At other times, the best advice I could take from anyone was my dad saying, like, quit your job. Just quit your job tomorrow. Go in and quit your job. Don't go to work anymore. Like, just do what you need to do. And I think that for me, really, with work in the workplace, made me realize, like, everything is different for everyone, and it changes and it shifts, and it's one thing one day and it's something totally different the next. But I think one of the first things I would say is, like, don't put it all on yourself. Don't force, like, you to figure everything out, and to figure out how you're going to move through it, and to figure out how you need to be supported, and to figure out what you need, because it's really already exhausting. And I think burning out on grief is like a very real thing.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah, and I think for that, it's when someone dies or you lose someone in any capacity, you know, your body is going through a lot, your mind is going through a lot, your social relationships are going through a lot, your professional life is going through a lot, and your whole world is impacted in so many different ways. Trying to, what I think a lot of people consider, like, get back to normal, in a lot of cases is totally impossible. And it's also really exhausting to just figure out how you can function at all. Mm-hmm. And so to not only figure out how to function, like, get off the couch or get out of bed if that's what you need, to then also figure out how to take care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, how to, like, get to the doctor to make sure that you're still okay, how to get to the office to make sure that you still have a job, how to get to the gym so that you still, like, are taking care of your body. All of that is really exhausting. And so one of the things that I've learned from my own grief and from grieving and talking to people and doing all this research and everything, is just like letting people help me is really, really, really important. And letting people take some of the pressure off of me has been really, really important. So that when I wake up and I feel like shit and I don't know what to do, and then I'm laying in bed and I'm sobbing and I'm like, I don't want to get up, but I don't want to stay in bed, and I don't want to go out, but I don't want to be home, which I think is that sort of like anxious, restless feeling that you can get a lot when you're grieving. Like, I don't want to see anybody, but also I don't need to be alone on my couch right now. I think that letting someone else, which has been my partner or has been friends of mine, say like, okay, maybe we could do this. And then I can say yes or no. And then they come up with another idea. And then I can say yes or no. And then they come up with another idea. And I can say yes or no. And putting that energy onto someone else's plate to sort of let you work through and figure out what you need can be really, really, really important. And I think especially with things like Mother's Day, for example, coming up, we're walking around today and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do for Mother's Day. Sometimes, like, I want to go walk through Home Depot for 5 hours just to be totally distracted. And that's, like, that's what we did last year on the anniversary of when my mom died. Like, I think we went at, like, 10 o'clock in the morning when Canadian Tire opened. Like, we just walked around. And I was like, I do not have the energy to make a decision about, like, some huge excursion we're going to go on to Bowen Island to, like, commemorate my mom today. So we're just going to, and so he's like, okay, let's just leave. Like, let's just go out of the house. We'll go to Canadian Tire. And I was like, oh wait, this actually feels
it's like a smart idea.
Weirdly good.
There's so much random shit that you can
so
look
much
at.
random shit, distractions, you know, and it's not, I think that's the thing too, and why, you know, I totally respect anyone commemorating people in a way that they need to, but for me, like, I've realized every time, and I think this would be the second thing that I would say is like, don't, when you need to take care of yourself in grief, like, don't get stuck thinking about it in stages or on a timeline. That's been really, really, really important to me, is that the stages, they're just not real. And Kubler-Ross never intended for them to be applied to everyone in that order. And
who?
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. So she was like the woman who did all of this grief and death research and came up with those 5 stages of grief. And so people talk about them in stages, and you like start with one and you end with another, and then you move on and you're fine, and you've like stopped grieving and you're okay, and you figured out your life, and like you never cry again. But one of the things that I've realized is just like, it comes when it wants to come. It's, in addition to that, it's probably always in there somewhere. It impacts us in different ways at different times, and one of the things that, like, when it comes to stages and timelines, it's like, I just tell myself, like, I just gotta roll with it, and it's gonna come whenever it wants to. Which means not forcing yourself to just worry about the holidays or to worry about the like huge milestones, but taking care all the time. Because yeah, Mother's Day is going to be hard for me. Father's Day is
no, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. Like Mother's Day is going to be hard for me, and then I'm going to wake up the next day and my mom's still going to be fucking dead. Like, and Christmas is hard because she's not there, and then I wake up on Boxing Day and she's still fucking dead. And so like, I think it's really hard to sort of, from the outside and from those people who aren't in the club, or from people who haven't experienced a loss really close to them, or who don't think about grief every day 24/7 like I do, like you think, oh right, Elisa's mom died and Mother's Day is coming up, so I should probably like give her a call. Things are still hard, like the Tuesday before Mother's Day and the 3 months before Mother's Day, and like every day. It can be hard any day. And so I think that when it comes to like advice, to me it's like, know that I can't give anyone the exact advice that they're going to need and sort of blanket it to everyone, but then also being super self-aware of the fact that like it can come whenever and it's there all the time. For a lot of people, like, is a really important thing to remember. And I think it also helps, and I don't know how much you experience this, but I experience it all the time. It's like, when it's not that milestone or that holiday, in the first couple of years, I was just like, why do I feel so crazy. I'm just sad all the time. Like, nothing should be wrong. Like, it's not her birthday. It's not a holiday. It's the middle of June. It's a beautiful sunny day. Why do I feel like shit? Because it's just in there. And it's just going to continue to be in there. And I think that reminder is really huge. And then, putting it on other people. When people say, like, which is like,
it sounds so
awful.
Yeah.
But it's one of the most important things that I have to continue to remember is like, I cannot do everything for myself. I cannot remember, every single day and every holiday and everything that's going to come up. But I can let other people like help me figure stuff out sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that's really important. Yeah.
So how did you go from, you are so passionate about the work of grief and about keeping your mother's memory alive and establishing this Dead Moms Club in Vancouver. How did you go from it being a passion to really putting it out there to not be just for you, but to bring in more people and create this community?
Yeah, so originally when I started doing the work, it was online. And so I put a call out into the Facebook universe and was like, I have this space on my website. I'd like to use it to tell other people's stories. I talk about my mom all the time. I show people pictures of my mom. Like, there's a picture of my mom there. There's a picture of my mom all over the house. And, that's my mom.
Oh my God,
and my sister.
Oh, I thought
no,
that's
like
Vancouver Grizzlies. Dang it.
No. That's just, my mom loved, like, animal t-shirts.
Do you remember Northern Reflections?
No.
Oh my gosh, I gotta show you some Northern, like the ones with like the wolf and the things behind it, and we all used to wear them as kids.
Okay, that's probably exactly. Yeah.
Oh, look at your mom. She's
beautiful.
Look at those eyes. That sparkle.
Gorgeous. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, do it.
I know. Some people are like, I don't know, I can't tell, and I'm like, oh no, that's definitely me.
That's 100% you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've been sharing stories about my mom and talking about my mom and realized, okay, I'm using this site to like help some people, but I know what really helps me is talking about my mom. So I put out a call and was like, if anybody wants to tell me a story about their mom, send me a photo, I'll put it on my website.
Dead moms.
Yeah, dead moms. Oh my God. Yeah, dead moms. And that's like the only moms I deal with these days. So like, it's like, of course they're dead. But yes, anyone wants to tell me about their dead mother, send me a story, send me a photo, and send me like any death anniversaries or anything that's coming up, and then send me your social handle. So I put it out there, and then people just started sending them, and I really realized this is the thing that helps me. The work helps me. The advice, the content, the ebooks of checklists for people to like create care packages. All of that stuff is really useful. But what some people really need is just like a place to tell a story about a person that they never get to talk about anymore. Because everybody knows I do this for work. So they're like, okay, like of course you're going to tell a story about your mom. But not everyone gets that opportunity to talk about their dead parent.
Or feels comfortable. Because they want to make sure that everybody else, we want to, as humans, we want to create a space that's peaceful. And if it's going to be something that's uncomfortable for others, so there's any hesitation, then it's just natural to pull back.
Yeah. And to avoid it, and to just say like, I'll just like keep it in my head, or I'll keep her in my heart, or I'll do whatever. So I just realized, okay, like, if people want a space to talk about their moms, can use my website and send me their stuff. So I was doing that, and that's when I realized, and mostly because of my partner, he's like, you love writing, you're doing all of this stuff, but at the same time, like, I think what people are really going to want is a place to be together, whether that's digital or physical. So once I decided, okay, I'm going to do this online, I can do it in person. I just need to be aware of the emotional labor that goes into it. Because that's one of the things that, kind of like you're talking about, it can be really exhausting. Even if it's like positive and it feels good, it is still really exhausting to put so much work into talking to people about heavy stuff all the time. And I think that I realized, okay, I'll create this physical space and I'll like start doing these clubs and I'll look around for places to do in Vancouver. I'll host this Mother's Day event, but I don't think I can do that as my full-time job just because it takes so much. So
do you think there is a need for it to be full-time?
oh my God. Yeah, like I would go
like,
to that
I
shit
know.
on a Wednesday every week and just like go sit in a room with people and drink wine and talk about all of the stuff that goes wrong during the week.
Yes.
You know? And the little things that where you're like, nobody else would know why that thing I said at work was so fucking annoying and made me so sad. But I could come here and like talk to you guys about it, and then everyone can say like, "Oh yeah, duh, that made you sad." Like, of course.
Well, maybe not like, is there a need, but is there enough for you? Well, I guess because of emotional labor, that'd be too much, anyways.
No, I think there's definitely a need. I think there's definitely a hunger for it, and I think I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up doing it. Like, to be totally honest.
Really?
It'll probably go that direction. And I think the thing is too, it's one of those things where like I would love to find a way to do it, but also allow like and just be excited for more people to do it all over the place.
Yeah. So it's not just driven by you, but there's more
Yeah.
people who are able to step into that leadership role and be able to facilitate,
Just
lead.
like facilitate.
Yeah, and take on like what you're building here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about May 4th, and not May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
Every time I say that it's happening on May 4th, everyone goes, May the 4th be with you.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
gonna
Star
use
Wars.
that. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, please tell me you
But
know.
do you know? I don't really, I know, but I haven't watched. I know, I can't.
At least
We had this conversation, like, I just watched Lord of the Rings for the first time, like, a month ago.
I'm leaving.
Star Wars, I'll get there.
This episode is over. This episode is over.
But I got the joke.
Okay, great.
I'm trying. I just watch Gilmore Girls all day. That's what makes me feel good. Like, I don't think Star Wars is going to help with my grief. Maybe it will, but like Gilmore Girls really helps, so that's what I'm into. Yeah.
My girlfriend Mercedes,
Yeah.
who takes care of the little one every Monday. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, watching Gilmore Girls. I'm like, what are you not watching Gilmore Girls? She's like, it makes me feel
It
good.
makes me feel good. It makes me feel real good, which is really weird because it's like
Mother-daughter?
two mother-daughter duos that are like very complicated and emotional, but something about it. It's like all I could watch after my mom died. I just like sat on the couch at my dad's house and just was like drinking whiskey, watching Gilmore Girls on repeat. That was it. Oh my God. And it gave me so much life. I was just like, this is all I can handle right now.
That's like me and RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
That's what got me through my postpartum depression and like going through the shit. It was the only TV show I could watch.
Yeah.
And made me feel alive.
Yeah. Oh, what? Naturally.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
what were you talking
May
about?
4th.
Yes, okay.
May the 4th be with you. I'm gonna make that joke today. Daniel will get it. I should get more of that stuff. But yeah. So May 4th. Okay, so that's kind of, this is part of me exploring what it would be like to do this in person. And it was like okay, I do this stuff online. I could do a webinar. It'll reach more people, which I'm going to end up doing anyway. I could do, yeah, I know, all the things. I could like keep writing content, keep writing articles. I do all that stuff around Mother's Day anyway. I can send my newsletter, already doing it. But like, I live in Vancouver. I meet other people who've lost parents. I meet other people who've lost kids. I meet other people who've lost just people in their lives. And I was like, fuck it. I'll just make it happen and find a space that'll be open to it and conducive. Like, I think what was really important was finding a space that was going to be like really comfortable and rich and homey and beautiful. And I went to an event at Work Lab for Women of Color, and
Hosted by Anita. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, it was Dora.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Hosted by Dora.
Yeah.
Oh!
It was Melon Mixer.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dora, bless your heart. Beautiful. Love her.
We love
Yeah,
you,
love
Dora.
her.
We love you. You're the best.
So she hosted that event, and you know, when you think as a woman of color, like Vancouver is not always a safe space. To find a space physically where I could lay down on the ground and, thanks to Dora, just be like, oh, this is what I've been missing for the 2 years that I've been living here. I feel comfort. I feel safety. I feel just a sense of like true compassion from the people who have built this space for me to be in tonight, I was like, done, this is it. This is, you know, what I want. Like, and it was also because I was planning on doing it somewhere else, and it just sort of grew and grew and grew and grew and wouldn't fit in that space anymore. So all of the pieces just started falling together, meeting people that were going to help facilitate. It just felt really right. And I think it felt like the time to move off the internet. And I've been hosting workshops and stuff for a while on this topic, but the opportunity to find a space that felt really comforting, be around other people whose moms had died on Mother's Day, like, it's also for me, like, this is a great way for me to look forward to one of the shittiest times of the year, and then to work with people who want to help people move through their grief and manage their grief and feel good in their grief. Like, it all just, it came together, and it's felt amazing. And I think one of the things too, is that, like, for me, I can look forward to the weekend before Mother's Day this year, which I honestly haven't, even from before my mom died. Like, Mother's Day has not always been a great time, whether or not she's been dead.
There's also this pressure, like, for me, shout out to my mom, Teresa, but there's a way for us to honor and respect and share our love for our moms, not just one time a year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And as a mom, I'm like, I mean, my child is so young, so I can't force too much on her yet, but once she gets to a certain age, will there be an expectation for how you show your love?
Yeah. And
how is that really authentic to your relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I don't get it. I mean, my mom's still alive, but yeah, it's like this forced thing.
Yeah. And
it's forced thing that we have to do something, have to do all this stuff. You know, same thing around Christmas or Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And I think that's how it's like just really frustrating me. Marketing is so aggressive, and I worked in marketing. Like, the first time that I went through Mother's Day without my mom living in Vancouver, somebody like brought up to me in the workplace. I worked at a content marketing agency, and they were talking about Mother's Day and asking when Mother's Day was, and I like had to cry and sort of broke down, and I was like, oh, this like is just a shitty way to handle a holiday that a lot of people find really hard. And I think that's why this event was also important around this time, was that you go on social, you find this shit. You open your inbox, you find this stuff. You walk down the street and like every sandwich board is like, but what did you buy your mom? Like, are you ready for Mother's Day? And I think this being before Mother's Day, so on the 4th, which is why I wanted to host it that weekend, is like an opportunity to spend 3.5 hours like not thinking about your mom if you don't want to, thinking about your mom if you want to, crying about your mom if you want to, and not being inundated by all of the garbage that's telling you that like you need to go out and buy something and do something and think about her and do it. And I think it was just a really perfect opportunity finally for me to create that space with people. Yeah. And not just for people, but with people, because it's also like for me. It really is. And I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm like, oh, I need this just as much, you know? Yeah. I need a space to cry and not have people like back away because they're uncomfortable, or to laugh with the people who like, I don't know why I'm crying right now. I'm just so excited. I'm really excited. No, oh my gosh. That's the thing. Like, I think it feels so special to be excited, to give people a space to do whatever the hell it is they need to do at this time of year.
There's so much passion that's coming through that I don't even think, how can you have any other job besides sharing this and connecting people? Yeah. Well, I mean, besides paying the bills.
Paying the bills in Vancouver.
And I mean, you've got a great apartment.
Yeah.
Let's talk. How did you curate the people that you're partnering with? More or less, why do you love me?
I think, so I can speak to a couple, you know, of the people that are going to be participating, and then a lot of people who are just like being so kind and thoughtful and donating to the event, to have people like take stuff away, which I haven't been talking too openly about yet just because I've been securing it all, but it's just like Oh my god, I'm so excited. So obviously, the first time that I heard you speak was at that Soul Designs event, and I was like, oh, here's a person who will like curse when they're on a stage, who will talk about things like so openly and passionately and beautifully, but with like, I don't know, maybe this sounds aggressive, but like with a force. Like it felt like there was this force that was real, yeah, like,
oh my gosh,
and it was like on a, you know, it was like with a bunch of other people on a panel who were speaking, and it was really great. But like just to have you up there for those couple moments and talking with your daughter, I was like, she's real, like she's being very real right now, and I appreciate this, and I need to work with her.
And side note, as I was talking, I was there and I was staying with some people that I knew, and Eden was getting really distracted, and so I got up to speak just for a quick hot second to share my experiences with anxiety. And she's over by my chair taking a poo. Yeah. She's a toddler, she's in diapers. So I'm up there talking, and now, so she's pooped in her pants, and now she comes she couldn't get through from one end because there's too many chairs. So she walked all the way around, wafting her poopy diaper, and just came and stood right next to me, and just kind of like swayed back and forth a little bit, like, la la la, I'm used to this. Yeah. And yeah, I had to keep it real, being like, my nearly 2-year-old is pooping. Yeah. We're talking about anxiety. Like, we got to keep things real. It's not all going to be perfect, prim, and proper.
Yeah. Which is exactly how I feel about grief. And I think that making that connection, like, you're not always either going to be totally fine or bawling. Like, there are those in-between periods where, like, I remember the first time that I just stared at a wall for a couple of hours, like, sat on our couch and just stared at the wall. The TV wasn't on, I wasn't on my phone, and I just stared. And then I was like, wait, what just happened? And I was like, I wasn't crying, I wasn't sad, but I definitely wasn't okay. Like, there's that in between.
And then also experiencing the two emotions at the same time. Like, you can be grieving, incredibly sad, and there's moments of joy and lightness and happiness.
Pure joy and laughter.
And not feeling bad for feeling okay in that moment.
Oh, totally. Like, that is like a whole... That has been so important for me to experience and learn, and like I love talking about what it's like to laugh at the fact that my mom is dead, like, and to laugh about what happened when we spread her ashes up in Ontario, and just to laugh about things about my mom that like really annoyed me or pissed me off. And I think that when I was listening to you speak, also being at an anxiety event, I was like in good company, already on board with some of the stuff that I like clearly care a lot about, which is like anxiety as it's coupled with grief, and thinking about how anxiety can manifest while we're grieving, and then also just be a huge part of how we present ourselves while we're grieving, especially in the workplace. Like, specifically, I had a lot of anxiety coming up when I was in the workplace right after my mom died. But yeah, so that felt great. And then we met, and then like being able to talk to you about your dad, and just knowing that this could be like a really incredible partnership with two people that understood like the importance of a space that was special for people. And I think that came from philosophy and understanding that, like, I go to yoga, you know? Honestly, one of the things that has felt the best and most distracting to me is hot yoga, when, like, since my mom has died. And it's like a place where I can go and be like, I never worked this hard. Like, all I can think about is like focus and pain and listening to someone else talk, and it's felt really good.
And the sting of the salt in
and like the sweat in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I don't always need that. And I also don't always need to like go and be in a yoga class with a bunch of strangers and not feel comfortable maybe crying when I get into certain poses, or leaving the room if I don't want to be there anymore. Like, there's a lot of pressure, I think, in certain yoga classrooms and just places in general of like that are related to fitness when you're grieving, because sometimes you just need to bounce. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm done now, I gotta go. But with what you do, it made so much sense to give people a space who are grieving, like a space where, one, they can feel like physical touch, which a lot of us lose or are uncomfortable with, or don't really know how to seek it out, when we're also like, we need that physical touch while we're crying, you know?
And like, I don't know about you, but when I've gone to class, and I always cry in Shavasana. Like, it's just
Oh,
my
yeah.
thing. And then, like, somebody
That
comes
is really
around
horrifying,
and comes
yeah.
around and touches you, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I better clear these tears off, or I have to get up fast and be like, oh, namaste.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
Yeah.
like, what? When you come with the expectation that it's okay,
It's okay.
to let everything out, and like, fuck, I'm not going to judge you. I'll wipe away your tears.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little kiss on the cheek. I
Yeah.
won't. I've only
And-
done that once.
I'll take it. But I think that's the thing too, is I realized what you were doing is like taking a lot of the pressure off, but allowing people to still come and take care of themselves. Which is like, and I loved it when I came for the first time, and it was like, if you don't want to do this, don't do it. Just lay there. If you don't want to do it the way I'm telling you, don't do it. Just like do it however feels good. If you're gonna cry, if you want to laugh, if you need to fart, like do whatever you need to do. Like just appreciate and be grateful for the fact that you like got out of bed and got to a thing today. Like that is more than enough for a lot of people to feel accomplished when they're going through grief. And then also I think that it was just a safe space to do it however you need to do it. Because I know they say that, you know, like I hear in classes all the time where they're like, oh yeah, like if this doesn't feel right, you can do it another way. Or like, if you're getting tired, just like lay down. I'm like,
Or like,
but am I trying to lay down in front of all these other people right now?
I remember you know, most teachers will start with that if there's something like whatever, child's pose, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I remember I felt so sick in a hot yoga class one time that I did have to lay down.
Yeah.
And I felt so uncomfortable doing so because the safe didn't actually feel safe for me to lie down. So I felt like I should have pushed through. And instead of being there for something positive and great, I left feeling like I wasn't enough and I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that happened a few weeks ago, I was teaching in a space, a philosophy class. And at this point, the students who come to this class, they know what's going on. They start by lying down, eyes are already closed. They're ready to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this one girl did her own thing the entire class.
Really?
Like she did her own.
She was there.
She was
She
there.
needed
Like
space.
people were lying down. She was standing up, reaching back,
Yeah.
and like we still came around and touched her in those poses. But it was so beautiful for this person to feel so safe, and have that confidence, knowing that no one in that room was judging her. That she could just do whatever she wanted. And it made me so happy because I think if it was any other type of class, like any other style of yoga, people would be like, what the fuck? But here everyone's like, rock on, you do you.
Yeah. And also, I think what was really good for me was like, in the class that I did with you, I probably wouldn't have even noticed that girl because it just felt really good to have time by myself and on my own and to not have to think and compare and judge and question, and I just really like appreciated that. And I think too, there's like a million other like thoughtful touches, and to be able to speak with people before you take a class and to have the check-in question and also the quotes to leave with, like it all just felt, you know, I'm a creative, I'm a planner, I love tiny special touches, and I think that felt like the alignment of what people needed to experience physically at the event felt right. So I'm excited. I'm like so excited, and I'm excited to start the evening that way and just let people sort of like, you know, I'll say some stuff and we'll talk and we'll do some openers, but I think just to like give people space to just exist and like settle in and like melt into the evening is going to be really, really special.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
And let's talk, you have pen to paper and homecoming.
And homecoming. Yeah, so two things that I really wanted to make happen with this event was like, yes, to do something with our bodies, but then also to do something related to ritual, which can be really huge in commemoration, and then also to do something for ourselves and like with our brains, and to be able to like do something that felt good. And as a writer, like what I wanted to write, so I was like, we're gonna do journaling. To be totally honest, and so I met Carolyn, pen to paper, randomly.
Wait, before the Salt event?
So I had no idea. We stayed in the same bed and breakfast in Tofino in January. We left for my birthday. My birthday is really hard. Like my mom booked a birthday trip for me and my partner before she died, and then she died, and then we took the trip anyway. a couple months later, and in Paris, like she booked us like this whole trip in Paris. It was very intense. And so my birthday is just hard, and even though I didn't come out of my mom, like my mom raised me, like birthdays are just icky for me now. So we went away, and we got away, and we went to Tofino, and there was Carolyn, I didn't know her at the time, and her partner and their dog. And so when we got back, we met and we talked and we chatted, whatever, briefly. And then we got back, and I noticed that she was working with my friend Chrissy from Workshop Wednesdays, and she does workshops up on the North Shore near Moja. And so she'd like run a journaling workshop with Chrissy. I saw her on Instagram, and then we FaceTimed. And I was like, I think I want to do this thing for Mother's Day. Like, would you be interested in doing a journaling workshop? And then she was like, I think I know you. And I was like, I feel like we know each other. And she's like, were you in Tofino 4 months ago? And I was like, yes. And we'd like totally met. I found her website, looked through everything. And then once we got on FaceTime, I was like, oh, this is like weirdly feels meant to be. Like, you have this creative thing that you're doing that I really connect with. We randomly booked the same like bed and breakfast, and we're in the same place for a little while. I had a really pleasant encounter. And so it was really good to know that she was like in a circle of creatives that I already really respect. And also just a young woman trying to like do her thing and build her business and build a beautiful business with an intention of helping people connect with themselves, but not through journaling in a way that I think a lot of us think of it as, which is like, you gotta sit down and you gotta like dear diary, or like write for 4 hours every morning before you go to work, and it's gotta be like this insane, intense practice. And she's like, there's so many different ways to approach it and to think about it and to do it for yourself that'll feel good in whatever way that you need it to. So she is like putting together some incredible prompts, and just like the stuff that she's coming back to me with is so special and thoughtful. And so I'm really excited to work with her on that and to sort of give people a space to journal and to potentially take it into their practice in their daily life, their weekly, monthly, whatever, however often they want to write. But to have it be not like cookie cutter. And that's what I really respect about her and her business, and why I'm really, really excited to work with her. And then she's just been like researching grief and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, I love, working with someone who's not just
doing it for the money,
doing it for a buck, or doing it without some sort of alignment. Like, she really was like, we got to FaceTime, we're gonna talk, we're gonna do this, like we're gonna have a long conversation about like whether or not this is gonna fit. And I think that's what's really special to me about, this work is already like sensitive, and grief and death and dying and all these things are already really sensitive for people. And to know that somebody that I'm going to partner with is like really thoughtful about whether or not they want to go into that space, like that's really, really important to me. And so I really appreciated and respected that about her. And then Homecoming, so she was just recommended because I was talking to Natasha, who owns Little Mountain.
Okay, stop. So I just finished editing Flax's podcast.
Okay.
That's in 24 hours. Natasha's name has come up twice now.
Really? Because she's like amazing and so special, and like runs that beautiful space, and is connecting with so many people in Vancouver in like a really, really, really thoughtful, personal way with the businesses that she's bringing in and the work that she's doing. So I knew Natasha from a women of color group, and had like the pleasure of being in her space and being there when she was doing pop-ups, and that was where I originally wanted to do the event, and then it just grew too big.
Okay.
And so I said like, I really want to do something that people can take home, like something physical and something everyone recommends Homecoming, like candles and all of that, but to do the workshop, she was like, I would recommend her. So I'm really excited that people get a thing, because that's like, the body stuff is great, the journaling and exercising our minds and like being able to think and write, I know how impactful that's been on my grieving process, but also just being able to like take home a thing that you can have and sit with and use or not use, and just know that you like, it can like trigger the memory of that night or the event, is really important to me. And so it was also like, I don't just want people to take a thing, why don't we create it? And so for the candle making workshop, like one of the things that when we first jumped on the phone, she was like, it's just really relaxing and also like low lift as hell. Like she sets everything up and you go and you like pick your scents and it's really fun, but it's not like some insane like,
Yes.
because I just imagined like, oh, it's gonna be like a fucking like a chemistry experiment or something.
Like you're doing indigo dyeing.
Yeah, yes, like
Right.
just any, I don't know. I'm assuming, is that like hella complex and just like, yeah, okay. So this will be like 30 minutes of like creating a thing, getting to name your thing. So like I'm just gonna like name mine after my mom and I'll like burn it on her birthday or whatever. But I think being able to, I don't know, or like whatever, I'll do something, or I'll just like have it in my house and have it be a thing that I can take into the bath or take into my bedroom or do whatever I want with it. And I think being able to customize something that everyone will get to take home at the end of the night is just, that was my dream. So, and the rituals when it comes to commemorating someone and grieving and having, you know, people talk about self-care and like taking a bath. I understand that the act of taking a bath doesn't always have to, a bubble bath doesn't have to be equated with self-care, but it's, for me, it's about the time that you get to spend alone with yourself and the time that you get to spend thinking about your person or taking care of yourself or just like taking a break from the world. That ritual and that opportunity to be alone can be really, really special. And so having something to burn, something that smells good, something you've named after your dead mom, whatever you want to do, it's gonna be really nice. And then I've got so many things that we're gonna send people home with from Lululemon and Kids Met Essentials, from Purdy's. Purdy's agreed. Did I tell you about this?
No, but I saw it. And so, okay, time out. When I was in grade 12,
love chocolate.
I love chocolate. When I was in grade 11, Layla Pekarik and I, we did a school project in French immersion about the evolution of women in a business force. Mm-hmm. And so we went around to different businesses and interviewed them, and we got to interview the CEO of Purdy's.
Oh my God.
And they like sent us with a bunch of stuff, and it was really special, and it's like a business ran by women.
Yeah.
And just Canadian and with fucking hedgehogs.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And actually, my real.
I bought too many at Christmas.
Okay, how can you not? My real thing is actually the individual packed chocolate peanut butter bars.
What is that?
Oh, Mama's gonna hook you up.
Oh my God.
So tell me more, Purdy's.
Yeah, so oh my God, that sounds so good. I ate way too much at Christmas. I was like, it's for a fundraiser. That means you can buy like $150 worth of chocolate, right? Like, is it okay? No. Oh my God.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but like, yeah. And so, yeah, so I went to a Creative Mornings event, and as we walked out the door, Purdy's, they'd made a chocolate related to the theme of the talk. And I was like, this is a badass. Everybody got to take one, and you would like walk out and just eat it and think about the talk, and it was really beautiful. And so,
and it's not dog chocolate. Like, it's good.
Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. And it's like fun flavors, and they looked beautiful, and it was really special. And so I reached out to my friend who works on Creative Mornings in Vancouver, and she connected me, and I was like, do you think you could make something for like people whose moms are dead for my Mother's Day event? And they were like, hell yeah, sounds great. We like approved this with marketing. It sounds amazing. And so I'm gonna pick something up a couple days before. It's a 2-day process. It's gonna be such a special chocolate. And I was like, they were like, allergies, anything. And I was like, do what you think is gonna be special for people. We'll make it work. And I'm just really blessed to have found so many businesses in Vancouver who want to help take care of people and who want to give people something special. Because, you know, with chocolates, I can't buy my mom chocolates for Mother's Day. My dad can't buy my mom chocolates for Valentine's Day. But like, why can't we have them? Anyway, you know, why can't we have them to remember that our mom loved chocolate, or to have something special for ourselves, or to like indulge in something on a night when we just want to treat ourselves to something. So that will be really, really, really special. We'll have more chocolate as well. Zint is like gonna donate some stuff for anybody who can't eat the stuff from Purdy's, and I'm feeling like this is the stuff that makes me want to cry. It's the stuff where people, whether or not they've experienced it, they can recognize that this is hard. Like, grieving is hard. It's hard, it's exhausting. And if you and me and, you know, everyone that's putting on the event with me are going to take the time to invest our energy to help people who need something at this time of year, like, to know that these businesses are willing to do the same and to donate their time and donate their goods and donate their hands and their labor and their product to take care of us, like, I could not be more grateful. Like, it is just so, so special. So yeah, we've got, oh my gosh, so much. Oh yeah, like, Hoochie Booch, we're gonna have kombucha. Juice Truck is donating juice for everyone.
Hoochie Booch.
Banyan, yeah.
Shout out.
Banyan Books and Sounds is donating wish stones for everyone.
Oh, stop.
So one of the last exercises that we're gonna do with Carolyn for the journaling, she's come up with something that involves like wishes and your mom, and so Banyan's donating wish stones for everyone. And I'm just like, oh my god, I'm usually like the person who has to come up with all of these creative ideas, but it's been really neat to just see people say like, what about this? Like, this could be really special.
Wow.
Like, we're getting bath soaks and all. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, don't give away all the details.
I know. I'm just really excited.
So did you go out and seek out, I mean, obviously you sought out Purdy's, you sought out myself, Homecoming, but for all the other ones, did you go out and seek them out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And intentionally, knowing I don't want to just like pick up juice at the store. I could like support and promote a local business, but then also know that what people are going to be putting in their bodies that night is actually good for them.
Yeah.
Like, that was really important to me because, one of the things that I talk about and write about is like what we feed ourselves, and this is coming from a background in food, growing up in high school with like a very severe eating disorder, like knowing that food and how we treat our bodies really impacts our mental health, especially when it comes to grief and grieving, and during this time when your body is trying to do so much for you, like, you should do your best to feed it well, and like also the garbage that makes you feel good sometimes, which is like french fries and chicken nuggets for me. But for this, it was really important for me to be able to, make sure that people are putting good stuff in their bodies. Yeah. And then I also, I'm like all these things. I feel so blessed and just so grateful that the people that I reached out to who responded have just been like, oh, hell yeah.
Well, there's been so from my experience in podcasting in the past 2 years, what I've found is that the conversation around inclusivity is changing. It's hot, it's happening, but not just for people of color or with a disability or minorities, but seeing that different experience of people without mothers.
Yeah.
Which is the work you're doing, because you were last weekend with, was it BC Women's and Children?
And Save On.
And Save On.
Yeah.
The fact that there is more of a conversation bringing in different experiences.
Yeah.
Which I think 3 years ago, before you're doing this work in Vancouver, I don't think that would have ever even been considered.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know the impact you're having, but you're making a bigger impact on the Vancouver community.
Yeah.
So you're creating a safe space for Motherless Mother's Day. You're creating a space for also women of color, whether you're directly aware of that or not.
Fully aware.
Okay.
Fully aware, intentional, and really grateful to have the opportunity and to have my voice be a part of all of these conversations.
Yeah.
I think it's special.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I have talked about off air around grief work and the Vancouver scene and so many other things. Yeah. We'll save that for another podcast. But yeah, I just want to really commend you for the work that you're doing, knowing that you have a full-time job and you're taking a lot of this on. And I don't think Elisa said this, but the fact that she is really putting the people that she's working with first. As much as you say this is for you, I think about like how great and how on board you were for making sure that philosophy showed up in a powerful way. So it wasn't just like me and one hands-on, but you were really taking the time out to care for others. So even though this is about grief and motherless women and men and people, you're really taking care of everyone else too. So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah,
it's really special.
Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Details for the event. I don't know, I'm crying again. I'm gonna get my period.
Last week, it's so real though. Last week, I was like, ticket sales are coming in, people are buying my pins, all this stuff, and I'm like sitting on the couch, sobbing on my shoes, telling Dana like, I'm a failure. And he's like, oh, okay.
You just started announcing it last
This
week,
is
though.
real. I know, he was
Right?
like, yeah, he was like, you announced it 2 days ago, and you're selling tickets. You're not like, are you okay? And I'm like, my period's coming. It feels terrible. I was like, okay, this is real. And now I'm like, shit is amazing. I feel so good.
I'm alive.
Yeah, I'm so alive right now. Yeah, because my period ended 2 days ago. So people can find me a couple different places on my website. So it's my name, alicaforneret.com. Do you want me to spell it out?
No, because I'm going to link everything in the show notes, and then also I do a write-up after every episode of my bio of you.
Yeah.
I mean, I pull a bit from your website, but I'll link to the different stuff that we talked about as well.
Cool. Yeah, so there's my website. I also have another website which I'm transferring all of the Dead Moms Club stories onto. I finally bought deadmoms.club. So
deadmoms.club.
Yeah.
As a website.
As a website. So all of anybody who wants to submit a story about their mom can go on that website and submit their stories now. So you can submit a story, a photo, all of that. And then my shop is also on there and on my personal website. And then tickets you can find a link on my Instagram. You can also find a link if you just search, honestly, Motherless Mother's Day Vancouver on Eventbrite, it comes up.
You don't even need to add. You don't even need to add
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Motherless Mother's Day.
Yeah. And even on, I'm pretty sure on Google too. When I was looking it up, I've linked it on my Instagram as well. So take a look. It's on the Philosophy website. It's on KILTER&MINT.com. When are you gonna start a Dead Moms Club Instagram? Are you gonna stick with yours?
I have it. I'm waiting to get a lot of photos from people so that I can kick it off. But
okay,
it exists. It'll be there. And I'm running most of the stuff just through mine right now because full-time job. One Instagram is so much. So I'm doing my best, but yeah. And then I'm on Instagram, of course, just my name with a period, Alica.Forneret. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
the best. I love you. I can't wait to see what you create.
Yeah, and I can't wait to make this event really, really, really special with you. It's so I don't want to cry at the end of I always cry at the end, but no, I appreciate the time and I appreciate you giving me space to talk about this. And I really, really appreciate you and everyone. And I know it's not just you; it's everyone that you're working with and bringing that night. There's going to be a lot of emotion in the air, and there's going to be a lot, there's going to be a lot going on, and the fact that you're willing to do that, and come put yourselves physically in that space for people is really, really, really important and special.
I'm just going to be fucking crying on people while I'm giving them a head massage.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay. I don't know. Maybe not. You can cry on me.
Oh my gosh. I'll get those onion cutter glasses.
Goggles things? It'll just catch all of your tears. I'll send you home with
I have to dump it out and then put it back on.
Right,
oh my gosh. Okay.
Let's
finish it on that note.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Cool.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Good. I'm so fucking excited, dude.